Gibbs, who once famously compared himself to Jesus after clashing with a teammate during a race, is now finding himself in the hot seat as he faces some tough criticism from the fans. The drama unfolded after the Watkins Glen race, where Ty and fellow racer Sam Mayer had a run-in. Stay tuned for more on this and subscribe to our channel to stay in the loop with all things NASCAR. Looks like a NASCAR driver has finally given Ty Gibbs a taste of his own medicine on the racetrack. Ty has developed a bit of a reputation for getting into conflicts with other drivers in the Xfinity series. Known for his aggressive driving style, he gained attention during his championship-winning 2022 season for his habit of bumping, blocking, and even spinning fellow racers. This has earned him a label as a talented but less forgiving driver compared to his peers, and during a recent race, that reputation seemed to catch up with him on the track. Even though Gibbs has moved on to the prestigious Cup Series with Joe Gibbs Racing, a team founded by his grandfather, he still occasionally participates in races in the Xfinity series. This was the case at Watkins Glen, where the young Gibbs competed recently. As expected, he took the lead early on and maintained it for a good portion of the race. However, his aggressive tactics came into play during a heated battle with Sam Mayer, another Xfinity Series regular. In a side-by-side fight for position, Gibbs forcefully closed the door on Mayer, a move that didn't sit well with him. On the radio communication captured by NBC, Mayer was advised to get back at Gibbs for his actions. Mayer's response was succinct and direct. 10-4. This simple statement reflected how determined he was to retaliate and level the playing field. By the time the final restart rolled around, Sam found himself trailing behind Gibbs as they approached turn 1 and seizing what seemed to be an opportunity for payback. Mayer charged into the corner with full force. He slammed into Gibbs and took him out. As a result of this maneuver, Sam dropped to the third position momentarily. But despite a challenging track condition with oil and some safety concerns, he managed the situation pretty skillfully in the remaining laps. Sam eventually regained the lead and secured his second career win shortly thereafter. But obviously, Joe Gibbs' spoiled grandson wasn't about to let this one slide. So after the race, Ty slyly took a dig at Mayer. He said that there wasn't much to talk about with Sam in this situation. He pointed out their history, mentioning that although Mayer has more race starts under his belt, this win was only his second. While Ty didn't directly accuse Mayer of intentionally causing the wreck, he did highlight the difference in their racing accomplishments during a radio interview later on. However, in a radio interview, he did point out the contrast in their racing achievements. Gibbs made a point about how he's moved on to racing on Sundays, while Sam is still sticking to Saturdays. He also noted that even though Sam has more races under his belt, he hasn't clinched a championship title. And speaking of wins, Ty made it clear that he's the one with the upper hand in that department. And what do you know, all this landed Ty in the middle of a storm once again. Even though he was the fastest driver in the race on Saturday, his bitter comments sparked anger among many NASCAR fans. Ty spoke up in a way that didn't really sit well with anyone. One Twitter user took a jab at him by saying, "The silver spoon taste is bitter." Ouch. Although there were no penalties imposed on Mayer during the race itself, it's worth noting that NASCAR has been taking a stronger stance against intentional wrecks in the past year, so there's a possibility that a post-race penalty might be imposed after a thorough review of the incident. As for the upcoming Cup Series race at the same track, Ty will be starting in the 4th position, and Mayer won't be participating in that particular event, as Gibbs was quick to point out. This means that the current dynamic between the two drivers won't continue immediately in the following race. That said, this isn't the first time that these two are fighting. Ty's thrown more than just shade at Mayers. Oh yes, we're talking punches. Back in 2022, things got real spicy between the two during an Xfinity Series race. It was the last lap, both of them were gunning for positions, and bam! Their cars bumped into each other. Gibbs had been leading, but Brandon Jones snuck in and grabbed the win. Meanwhile, Gibbs and Mayer's cars brushed again while chasing second place. Mayer snagged 5th, and Gibbs, shooting for his 4th win that year, ended up in 8th after smacking into a wall. But once the race was done, things got all sorts of heated. Gibbs tailed Mayer to the pit road. They had a chat, but then Gibbs gave Mayer a shove, and it was on. They started pushing each other back and forth, and guess what? Gibbs threw a couple of punches, one at Mayer's chin and another smack in his face. So the race kind of took a U-turn, and became a full-blown face-off. Officials and bystanders also jumped in, attempting to separate the two, but it ended with both of them hitting the ground in the midst of the commotion. Mayer even suffered a cut on his forehead. The aftermath? Well, both drivers were summoned to the NASCAR hauler. They sat down with officials for around 10 minutes, presumably to sort out the mess and figure out what exactly went down. If we're being honest, with the way things are going, Ty could lash out again soon and it could get messy. But let us tell you something, Ty isn't the only one upset with Sam with time. It turns out Austin Hill is pretty mad at him too. Here's what went down. After Sam Mayer had a bit of a run-in with Ty, Mayer's move caused Gibbs to spin out and Austin got caught in the middle of all the chaos. As the race came to an end and Sam Mayer cruised his number 1 Chevrolet Camaro to victory lane, Austin Hill wasn't playing coy about his feelings in that on-track mess. Hill let his frustration out loud and clear. He was pretty vocal about his feelings in an interview with Dustin Albino, where he admitted that he had zero respect left for Sam Mayer after the way things went down. Hill put it boldly, saying, "As far as I'm concerned, he can kiss my ass." So, as you could probably tell, things got pretty spicy. What really ticked Austin off was that Mayer didn't seem to care about racing fairly against both Hill and Gibbs. In his eyes, Mayer's move wasn't about fair competition. It looked more like he was out to stir up trouble rather than racing legit. It remains to be seen if Hill's words will translate into his actions in future races. Often emotions can run high in the heat of the moment, and post-race reactions may not always reflect long-term intentions. But Hill did have a point where he brought up Mayer's overall reputation on the racetrack. He basically said that Sam is a bit of a rep for causing wrecks and getting into situations that lead to crashes. His racing style could sometimes be overly aggressive, and that could lead to unnecessary collisions. As for what's next in the Xfinity Series, it's a bit of a wait-and-see situation. The tension between Ty Gibbs, Austin Hill, and Sam Mayer definitely adds a spicy twist to their interactions on the track, and we'll have to see how things play out in the upcoming races. Ty finished in the 17th position in the Xfinity race, but he's not done for the weekend. He's all set to start from the second row in the Go Bowling at the Glen NASCAR Cup Series race on Sunday. Now you must be wondering how Sam reacted to all this. Well, we don't know if he really meant it, but he kind of took full responsibility for his actions. He acknowledged his mistake and explained that he lost control during the final restart at Turn 1. Speaking on NASCAR Sirius XM radio, he admitted that he didn't have to do it, and he didn't really want to do it either. So yes, he kind of owned up to his blunder and explained that he got too aggressive in that corner. He even offered an apology, saying, "I do apologize to him. I guess if he ever hears this, I do apologize." But he knows that even though Gibbs took the hit, the situation still ended up benefiting Mayer and his team in terms of bonus points and organization success. With this win, Sam secured his second victory of the season, and he's currently holding the 5th position in the regular season Xfinity standings. Not bad, huh? Who do you think was at fault here? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to watch the next one that'll pop up on your screen and hit that subscribe button to stay in the loop with all things NASCAR.